I stand before you today, the representative of a family in grief, in a country in mourning, before a world.
Marcus Vance slams his open palm flat against the cold glass of his desk. The impact rattles a half-empty coffee mug, sending a brown drop spilling over the edge. He does not wipe it up. His eyes remain locked on the massive digital monitor mounted to the wall of the communications suite. The screen displays a single, unedited childhood photograph. It contains no crown, no royal carriage, and no accusation. Yet, Marcus knows exactly what he is looking at. He is looking at a crisis. For the past 6 months, Marcus and his elite team have prepared a massive, unified media package for Diana's 65th birthday. They assembled thousands of hours of wedding footage, charity galas, and polished royal appearances. The narrative was locked. The legacy was secured. Then, less than an hour ago, Charles Spencer posted a raw, grainy image from roughly 60 years earlier. The caption read only, "Summer moment, 60 years ago." The image shows a young girl standing in a grassy field, looking back at her little brother. There is no ermine, no gold, no palace guards. Marcus operates through a true crime documentary lens applied to family dynamics. He understands that institutions survive by framing disagreements as constitutional crises, strategic maneuvers, and calculated power grabs. To him, a childhood photograph is a massive threat, because it reminds the public that a global icon was once just a regular person. "Absorb it," Marcus barks at his lead analyst, his voice cutting through the hum of the servers. "Absorb it, before it eats the entire anniversary broadcast. I want it buried under our official packages." Hi viewers, if you found an old childhood photo of yourself right now, what is the one thing you would want people to notice about you? Drop your answer in the comments below. Marcus does not hate the Spencer family. He simply views human beings as reputational assets and liabilities. The public is already starting to share the image. It is going viral, moving faster than the official palace timeline. The contrast is jarring. The institution offers a manicured icon. A brother offers a little girl standing beside him. The studio producers begin to panic. They scramble to rearrange their primetime lineups. The official royal material that cost millions to produce is suddenly being pushed to the side. Broadcasters lead with the childhood photograph. Marcus watches the live metrics shift on his secondary screen. The red bars climb higher and higher. American audiences are reacting with intense emotion, crossing cultural lines. They recognize siblings, childhood, and the raw sting of loss. Marcus adjusts his expensive tie and grabs his secure phone. He issues a quiet command to launch a counter-operation, relying entirely on psychological stakes, financial leverage, and reputational damage to shift the focus. He commands his team to subtly question Charles Spencer's timing. But down in the lower analytics bay, a junior data tracker raises her hand. She pulls up a heat map of global social media reactions. Her fingers tremble slightly as she points to the screen. The tracker turns to Marcus, her face completely pale. She realizes the public is not just sharing the photo because it is nostalgic. They are zooming in on a specific, tiny detail in the background of the image, a detail Marcus completely missed, and one that is about to tear his entire crisis management strategy to shreds. Small feet pound against the thick summer grass, kicking up dry dirt. Other children sprint ahead, laughing as they race toward a distant line of trees. The young girl stops. She pivots hard on her heel, her bright summer dress twisting around her knees. She does not run with the pack. She waits. She turns entirely around to look at a small boy struggling to keep up with the older kids. 60 years later, Maya Sterling runs her thumb over a high-resolution tablet screen. As the lead historical archivist for an independent media firm, Maya stares at the digitized version of the photograph. The air conditioning hums loudly in her small office. She zooms in on the girl's posture. She notes the ordinariness of it all. Diana is not posing for a camera. She is simply existing, living in a moment completely disconnected from public duty. Maya documents the visual motif. The little girl turns toward the exact person who might otherwise be left behind. The silence in Maya's office feels heavy. She stares into the pixelated eyes of the young child on the screen. The image carries an unbearable weight, because Maya knows exactly what the little girl does not. The child believes this is just a regular Tuesday in the sun. She cannot see the flashbulbs waiting in her future. She cannot see the global obsession, the heartbreak, or the tragic end at 36. Maya pulls up a secondary folder on her desktop. It contains dozens of other childhood pictures from the Spencer estate. Charles had a wide variety of photos to choose from. He possessed formal portraits, staged holiday cards, and highly stylized family milestones. Any of them would have been celebrated. Instead, he selected this one. Maya types a quick note on her keyboard. She realizes Charles did not just share a memory. He made a deliberate choice to remove the monarchy entirely from his sister's identity. The photograph strips away the institution and leaves only the human. Maya prints the image and pins it to her corkboard. Her phone buzzes on the desk. It is a text message from a contact inside the palace's media department. The message is short, frantic, and misspelled. Maya reads the text twice, her heart beating faster against her ribs. The text reveals that Charles had another, much more revealing photograph from that exact same afternoon. And someone inside Marcus Vance's team is actively trying to buy it before it sees the light of day. Keyboards clatter violently in a windowless room on the 7th floor of the broadcasting center. Hard drives glow bright red. Dozens of screens flash with looping royal wedding footage, close-ups of famous dresses, and recycled commentary. Marcus Vance paces the length of the room. His steps are measured and heavy. He watches the editors splice together the unified remembrance package. He directs them to absorb the childhood photograph into a massive montage of institutional continuity. He calls public grief sentiment capital. He refers to personal family memories as unregulated narrative assets. Nia Caldwell, a junior producer, stands up from her editing bay. She crosses her arms, shaking her head. The bright screens reflect in her dark eyes. "We are burying it," Nia says loudly, forcing the room to go quiet. The power of the photo is that it exists outside of the palace. If we wrap it in all this royal branding, we destroy the point. Marcus stops pacing. He turns his head slowly. He looks at Nia with zero emotion. He views her objection as a dangerous disruption to his calculated power grabs. He points a single finger at the heavy wooden door. "Take a walk, Nia," Marcus says. "You are off the anniversary project." Nia clenches her jaw. She grabs her jacket and her tablet, storming out of the room. The heavy door clicks shut behind her. She walks down the empty, carpeted hallway, her boots sinking into the plush floor. Her chest tightens with frustration. She decides to pack up her desk and go home. As she reaches her small cubicle, she notices a printed scheduling document sitting halfway out of a shredder bin. The bold red ink catches her eye. Nia pulls the paper free. It is Marcus's confidential media rollout strategy for the anniversary. Nia runs her finger down the timeline. She checks the dates. She checks them again. The blood drains from her face. Marcus's strategy to counter the childhood photograph was drafted and finalized 3 days ago. The machine was already hunting, already preparing to crush the Spencer family narrative, long before Charles ever posted the picture. Nia Caldwell highlights the timestamp on the digital server log. Her pulse kicks hard against her ribs. She drops the shredded document onto her desk and grabs her phone. The timeline proves massive institutional preparation. Marcus did not just react to Charles, he anticipated a war. Across town, the first countermove hits the internet. Darius Cole, a ruthless tabloid columnist, publishes his afternoon exclusive. The headline screams across mobile devices nationwide: Spencer reopens the war. Darius frames the innocent summer photograph as a direct attack on the crown. He uses aggressive language to suggest Charles is purposely trying to overshadow the official royal tributes. Inside a private library, Charles stares at Darius Cole's article on a sleek laptop. The room smells of old paper and leather. Charles grips the edge of the heavy wooden desk. His knuckles turn white. Jamal Pierce, a high-priced publicity consultant, paces aggressively behind him. Jamal points at the screen. "You have to fight back," Jamal insists, his voice thick with adrenaline. "They are framing you. You let this slide, and they own the narrative forever. Hit them hard. Give me a statement, and I will plaster it on every network in America within the hour." Charles closes his eyes. He listens to the ticking of a grandfather clock in the corner. He knows this is a trap. If he issues an angry response, he gives Darius exactly what he wants. He fuels the media machine. He turns his sister's birthday into a battlefield. Charles opens his eyes. He pulls the keyboard close. His fingers strike the keys with heavy, deliberate force. He drafts a brutal, honest response. He writes about the toxic need to control a woman's legacy. He writes about the pain of watching an institution devour his family's private history. Jamal leans over Charles's shoulder, grinning as he reads the words. Charles stops typing. He stares at the flashing cursor. He takes a deep, ragged breath. He highlights the entire block of text. He hits delete. Jamal groans in loud, obvious frustration. Charles stands up, grabs his coat, and walks out of the library without saying a word. The laptop sits open on the desk. The screen is completely blank, but Jamal does not follow him. Jamal quickly pulls a small smartphone from his pocket. He scrolls to his photo gallery. He looks at the crystal-clear picture he snapped over Charles's shoulder just seconds before the words were deleted. Jamal Pierce sits in the back booth of a loud, crowded coffee shop. He sips a black coffee. He uses a cheap, untraceable burner phone to compose an anonymous email. He attaches the cropped screenshot of Charles's deleted statement. He hits send. Within 20 minutes, the internet explodes. Major news networks interrupt their regular broadcasts. They flash the leaked words across the bottom of the screen. The language is stripped of context. It looks furious. It looks hostile. The public immediately assumes Charles authorized the leak to attack the palace. Marcus Vance watches the chaos unfold on his office monitors. A slow, cold smile spreads across his face. The leak validates his entire strategy. He doesn't even have to fight anymore. The public is doing the work for him. Television panels scream about the leaked statement. The childhood photograph is completely forgotten, buried beneath hours of manufactured outrage and debates over royal motives. Charles watches the television in total silence. He refuses to pick up his phone. He refuses to release an official denial. He knows that speaking out now will only feed the fire. He sits perfectly still in the storm, letting the accusations crash against him. Back at the media firm, Nia Caldwell refuses to let the story die. She pulls up the viral screenshot of the leaked statement. She zooms in on the pixels. She runs the image through a basic forensic analysis program to check the raw data. Nia squints at the screen. She traces a line of text in the second paragraph. She compares it to the natural cadence of the rest of the message. Her breath catches in her throat. She spots a harsh, jagged artifact in the pixelation. A single phrase in the middle of the screenshot was heavily altered. Someone inserted a vicious, threatening line that Charles never actually wrote. By morning, that specific fabricated phrase will lead every major news cycle in the world. Red emergency lights pulse above the main server racks. Marcus Vance stands in the center of the control room, watching a dozen massive screens flood with the exact same headline. The manufactured outrage is working flawlessly. The childhood photograph is completely swallowed by the noise. The narrative has successfully framed the disagreements as constitutional crises, strategic maneuvers, and calculated power grabs. The public debate has shifted from a sweet summer memory to aggressive television panels screaming about family loyalty. Jamal Pierce's forged sentence dominates the global news cycle. Synthetic images pop up across social media platforms, placing Charles's face next to bold, aggressive text. The original tribute is corrupted. Charles sits alone in his quiet estate, staring at his phone. He considers deleting the post entirely. Erasing it would stop the immediate bleeding, but it would also let Marcus and Jamal permanently rewrite his memory. Across the city, Nia Caldwell hammers her fingers against her glowing keyboard. She refuses to let the lie stand. The air conditioning in her apartment hums loudly as she isolates the digital footprint of the altered screenshot. She runs a reverse IP trace on the uploaded image file. Lines of code reflect in her dark eyes. She bypasses the primary firewall, cutting through the encrypted layers of the burner email account. Nia watches the progress bar lock at 100%. The geographical location pinpoints exactly. It traces directly back to Jamal Pierce's mobile device. She has the smoking gun. She grabs her phone to call the network, but her screen instantly lights up with a breaking news alert. Jamal Pierce is live on Darius Cole's primetime broadcast. Jamal sits in the guest chair, grinning brightly at the camera. He leans into the microphone and drops a massive bombshell. He announces to millions of viewers that he possesses a second, unseen photograph from Diana's final years. He claims this new image will permanently change everything the world knows about her. Nia drops her phone on the desk. Jamal is doubling down, and the stakes just hit a critical level. Studio cameras swoop across the polished floor. Darius Cole leans over his glass desk, demanding the control room cut to the live feed. Millions of viewers are locked in, waiting for Jamal Pierce to reveal the second explosive photograph. The tension in the studio is suffocating. Darius promises a revelation that will shatter the Spencer family completely. Then, the studio door swings open. Loretta Hayes walks onto the set. She is a 72-year-old woman, with silver hair pulled into a neat twist. She worked in the Spencer household for 3 decades. She does not look at Jamal. She does not flinch at the bright studio lights. She takes a seat opposite Darius. Darius attempts to control the interview, projecting a massive image on the wall. He claims it is the final, unseen photo of Diana. He demands Loretta validate his scandalous timeline. Loretta adjusts her microphone pack. She looks directly at the photograph, then looks straight into the camera lens. Her voice is calm, clear, and absolutely unshakable. She states the date on the photograph is completely wrong. It is off by over 10 years. It is not a scandal. It is just a mislabeled holiday picture. Jamal freezes. Darius shifts uncomfortably in his expensive chair. Loretta does not stop there. She brings context back to the original childhood photograph. She tells the true story of the grassy field. She remembers the little girl who always waited for her brother. She strips away the manufactured drama and leaves only the raw, human truth. Darius snaps. He tries to humiliate Loretta on live television, calling her confused and irrelevant. Loretta simply smiles, refusing to raise her voice. She knows the truth does not need to scream. Darius violently slashes his hand across his throat, signaling the producers to cut the feed. The screen goes black. Darius throws his script across the desk and unleashes a furious, insulting rant about how easily the viewers can be manipulated. He laughs at the audience, calling them emotionally weak. He has no idea the audio engineer missed a switch. The feed is black, but his microphone is completely live. Millions of people hear every single word. Audio feedback violently screeches through the broadcast monitors. Marcus Vance rips his earpiece out, his face completely pale. The live microphone disaster is echoing across every social media platform on Earth. Darius Cole's insulting rant is playing on a continuous loop. Nia Caldwell sits in a rival studio, adjusting her own microphone. She is seated next to Dr. DeAndre Gibbs, a top behavioral analyst. They are breaking down the entire timeline live on air. Dr. Gibbs maps out the exact institutional protection strategy Marcus used to manipulate the public. He explains the financial leverage and reputational damage built into the campaign. They expose the forged email. They expose Jamal's fabricated photo. The network splits the screen. Marcus Vance is brought on via satellite. He looks stiff, desperate, and sweating under the lights. He tries to defend his actions. He claims he was only trying to protect the continuity of the monarchy. He claims the public needs stability. Nia stares directly into the camera. She cuts him off. She states clearly that continuity unable to tolerate an innocent childhood photograph is not stability. It is just insecurity wearing ceremonial dress. The studio goes completely silent. Marcus opens his mouth, but no words come out. His entire strategy crumbles on live television. The network host turns to the main camera, announcing they have offered Charles Spencer an open invitation to join the broadcast and finally destroy the men who tried to exploit his family. The producers cut to an empty chair in the studio. A digital clock ticks down in the corner of the screen. The entire world waits for the brother to take his revenge. 10 seconds. 5 seconds. The chair remains empty. Charles refuses to show up. A heavy printer hums in the corner of a major newsroom, pushing out a single sheet of paper. It is a direct, written message from Charles Spencer. There are no furious demands. There is no call for vengeance. Charles writes that the photograph was shared to remember a sister, not to recruit her memory into a media war. He asks the public to focus on compassion. He asks them to support families living with unresolved grief. He takes the highest road possible, refusing to let his sister's birthday become a battlefield for men fighting over her legacy. The quiet justice lands heavier than any screaming match ever could. The fallout is swift and silent. Darius Cole is placed on immediate, indefinite suspension pending a massive internal review. Security escorts him out of the building. Jamal Pierce's phone stops ringing. His high-profile clients drop him by the end of the afternoon, erasing his professional credibility completely. Marcus Vance stands in his empty communications suite. The massive digital monitors are turned off. The room is dark. He still has his job, but his authority is broken. He can manipulate headlines, but he cannot rewrite the truth. He looks at his phone. The childhood photograph is trending again, but this time, it is completely free of his control. Charles walks across the massive lawn of his family estate. The wind blows through the tall grass. He chose not to release any more private images. He recognized that protecting memory sometimes requires holding it close. He steps away from the noise, finding peace in the quiet summer afternoon. A cell phone lights up in a dark apartment in Chicago. A woman stares at the screen. It is a text message from a sister she has not spoken to in 14 long years. Across the world, the childhood photograph accomplishes what no public relations team could ever manufacture. A widower in Atlanta opens a dusty photo album. A mother in Detroit explains the true meaning of empathy to her young daughter. The focus shifts entirely away from the crown, the palaces, and the scandals. The public realizes that nobody truly owns memory. The monarchy can lock away official history. Commentators can try to sell speculation for profit. But authentic, raw memory belongs to the people who actually lived it. The photograph flashes on the screen one last time. The image is clear. The summer light hits the grass. A young girl waits for her little brother. The viewer finally sees the innocence before the fame. They see the deep human connection before the tragic grief. The institution tried to trap Diana inside official history, but for one quiet moment, a brother's photograph gave the world the real girl back. But what happens when an institution realizes it has permanently lost control of a legacy? What extreme measures will they take next time a family secret leaks out into the open? If you want to find out, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on your notifications so you never miss a story that uncovers the hidden truths they try to bury. Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Have you ever had to fight to protect a precious family memory? Share your story and inspire someone else today. See you in the next video.